If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The NFL world was shaken to its core today, as news broke that Myles Garrett, the dominant defensive end for the Cleveland Browns, has reportedly demanded a trade following a fiery confrontation with the team's front office. Sources close to the organization claim that tensions have been simmering for months, with Garrett growing increasingly frustrated over what he perceives as a lack of respect and commitment from the Browns management. The confrontation reportedly reached a boiling point during a heated meeting earlier this week, where Garrett allegedly voiced his dissatisfaction in no uncertain terms, leaving executives stunned and struggling to maintain control over the situation. Insiders suggest that the disagreement centered around contract negotiations, off-season plans, and the team's overall direction, which Garrett reportedly feels is not aligned with his ambitions of competing at the highest level. The defensive star, who has been a cornerstone of Cleveland's pass rush for years, is said to be serious about his ultimatum, signaling that he will not hesitate to explore opportunities elsewhere if the Browns fail to address his concerns. Fans are already reacting passionately across social media, with some expressing support for Garrett's bold stance, while others criticize the timing and potential impact on team chemistry, creating an undeniable storm of speculation around the franchise. Rumors suggest that the trade demand could send shockwaves across the league, as teams desperate for a game-changing defensive presence may now enter a bidding frenzy to acquire one of the NFL's most feared pass rushers. Garrett's ability to disrupt quarterbacks and completely alter the dynamics of a game makes him one of the most coveted defensive players in the sport, and his availability could dramatically reshape playoff projections and off-season strategies. Analysts are already speculating about which franchises would have the salary cap space, draft capital, and organizational willingness to accommodate a player of Garrett's stature, with several potential suitors reportedly emerging from both the AFC and NFC. This situation, while still developing, underscores the increasingly delicate balance between player empowerment and team management in professional sports, as stars demand more say in their careers and the decisions that affect their professional trajectories. For the Browns, the challenge now is not only managing the immediate fallout, but also maintaining locker room stability while navigating a high-stakes negotiation with one of their most talented and intimidating athletes. Every move will be scrutinized, from potential trade destinations to how the team publicly frames the ongoing discussions. The league, media, and fans alike are now watching with bated breath as this dramatic saga unfolds. Sources indicate that Garrett's relationship with head coach and defensive coordinator personnel may have also contributed to the tension, with the star edge rusher reportedly feeling that his input on defensive schemes and game planning has been undervalued. While publicly the Browns have maintained a stance of confidence and unity, insiders describe a much more chaotic internal dynamic, with staff scrambling to contain the fallout and prevent further leaks. The timing of this confrontation, coinciding with crucial roster decisions and the approach of the draft, has only intensified speculation, as the team must now weigh the risk of trading a cornerstone player against the potential of losing him for less favorable compensation. League observers note that Garrett's status as a franchise player with a history of high-impact performances elevates the stakes, as any trade would inevitably involve significant draft picks or a blockbuster player exchange. Meanwhile, Garrett's camp is reportedly holding firm, signaling that the defensive star is willing to sit out or leverage other options if his demands are not met. The ripple effects of this drama are already being felt across NFL circles, prompting executives, analysts, and fans to reconsider Cleveland's immediate prospects and the broader landscape of competitive balance in the league. Every angle, from potential trade packages to the psychological impact on the locker room, is now being dissected with intense scrutiny. Insiders are hinting that the tension between Garrett and the Browns front office is part of a broader trend in the NFL, where elite players are increasingly leveraging their value to demand control over career decisions, team composition, and personal branding. The Garrett situation exemplifies this shift, highlighting the complex negotiations behind the scenes that can dramatically alter the narrative around a franchise. Reports suggest that multiple teams have already initiated preliminary discussions with Garrett's representatives, exploring potential trade scenarios that could position them as immediate playoff contenders. The uncertainty surrounding these talks has generated a whirlwind of speculation, with fans pundits, and social media personalities contributing to an atmosphere that blends fact, rumor, and conjecture into a near-constant news cycle. Meanwhile, the Browns faced the dual challenge of protecting team morale and preserving the integrity of their defensive unit, while navigating the unpredictable dynamics of player trade leverage. Sources describe an environment of heightened tension within Cleveland, with staff reportedly bracing for a public showdown if no compromise is reached, knowing that the eyes of the league, media, and fanbase are squarely focused on this unfolding drama. The combination of Garrett's talent, assertiveness, and high profile makes this situation one of the most compelling narratives in the NFL. This season, the fallout from Garrett's trade demand is already influencing how other players and teams approach negotiations, with league insiders noting that this could set a precedent for player empowerment and strategic leverage in the coming years. The timing, coming after a series of high-profile contract extensions and roster shakeups, adds a layer of complexity. As executives weigh the short-term impact against long-term organizational stability, analysts are dissecting every potential scenario, from multi-team trades to salary cap gymnastics, considering how Garrett's movement could shift power dynamics in both conferences. The ripple effect on fan engagement, merchandising, and media attention is also substantial as the Browns navigate the challenge of managing public perception while attempting to retain competitive integrity. Social media has erupted with speculation, with hashtags trending, podcasts dissecting minute details, and sports commentators providing 24/7 coverage of every reported development. The convergence of talent, controversy, and timing ensures that Garrett's situation will remain a focal point for the NFL for weeks, if not months, as the league, fans, and analysts attempt to piece together the implications of a possible blockbuster trade. Every rumor, quote, and leak now carries amplified significance in a story that has already captured national attention, illustrating the precarious balance between sports, business, and personality in professional football. League insiders further speculate that the Browns management might be forced to make tough decisions not only about Garrett, but also about the broader defensive roster, as trading a player of his caliber could necessitate structural adjustments, scheme changes, and leadership shifts. The complexity of balancing competitive goals with financial realities places the franchise in a difficult position, especially when considering Garrett's influence on younger players and his role as a locker room leader. Potential suitors are reportedly evaluating not just Garrett's on-field impact, but also the cultural fit, team ethos, and long-term vision, recognizing that acquiring a player of his intensity requires careful management and alignment with organizational philosophy. Meanwhile, Garrett's camp is reportedly exploring every leverage point, from public statements to strategic engagement with media outlets, to ensure the trade demand is taken seriously. The evolving narrative, filled with hints, partial confirmations, and insider commentary, continues to fuel speculation and debate among fans and analysts alike. Each report adds layers to the unfolding drama, making it clear that the eventual resolution will have far-reaching consequences, potentially redefining player-team dynamics in the NFL. The Browns' next moves, whether conciliatory or confrontational, will likely set a tone for the franchise and ripple across the league in ways that could affect trades, contracts, and player empowerment narratives for years to come. The national spotlight on this situation is magnified by Garrett's stature as one of the league's most formidable defensive threats, whose presence alone can alter the outcome of games and playoff scenarios. His trade demand, framed against the backdrop of a contentious internal dialogue with management, has become a lightning rod for debate about the balance between star power and organizational control. While some critics argue that the timing is disruptive, others see Garrett's actions as a legitimate assertion of professional agency, reflecting a modern trend in sports where elite athletes exercise leverage to shape their destinies. The Browns, caught between loyalty to a franchise cornerstone and the realities of negotiation, face a high-stakes chess match, with every move potentially influencing the team's trajectory and the wider competitive landscape. Industry insiders emphasize that the resolution will likely involve careful consideration of compensation, draft picks, and alignment with long-term goals, highlighting the intricate calculus behind every reported rumor. Fans are now dissecting hypothetical trades, speculating on destinations, and weighing the impact on playoff outlooks, creating a dynamic environment where speculation feeds further speculation. In short, The Myles Garrett saga has transformed from a team-level disagreement into a national conversation, encompassing themes of talent, power, ambition, and the evolving landscape of professional football, with outcomes that remain unpredictable but highly consequential. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Speculation is now running wild across social media platforms as fans, insiders, and analysts attempt to predict where Myles Garrett could land if the Browns follow through on his trade demand. Names of potential suitor teams have begun circulating, ranging from perennial playoff contenders to franchises looking for an immediate defensive anchor, each weighing not only the player's extraordinary talent but also the complex dynamics that come with acquiring a high-profile star demanding influence over team strategy. League insiders caution that Garrett's presence can alter the identity of a defense almost instantly, forcing opponents to rethink offensive game plans and potentially shifting the balance of power within divisions. The timing of these reports has added fuel to the fire, as the NFL offseason typically involves careful orchestration of draft picks, salary cap management, and roster construction, meaning any trade of this magnitude could trigger a domino effect that reshapes multiple teams' approaches. Meanwhile, the Browns are reportedly attempting to navigate these turbulent waters with both diplomacy and firmness, seeking a resolution that addresses Garrett's concerns without compromising team cohesion. Sources suggest that behind-the-scenes discussions are highly strategic, with every potential scenario modeled to anticipate both on-field performance implications and broader organizational impact. Fans are now glued to every update, knowing that the outcome could redefine not just Cleveland's season, but the league's competitive landscape. Reports indicate that Garrett's ultimatum has sparked internal debates within the Browns front office, with executives divided on whether to negotiate aggressively to retain him or consider an early trade to maximize return value. Some insiders argue that accommodating his demands could set a precedent, emboldening other star players to assert similar leverage, while others contend that the talent Garrett brings is irreplaceable and worth the concessions. The conversation reportedly extends beyond finances, delving into decision-making authority on defensive schemes, public messaging, and even personnel choices, illustrating the multifaceted nature of player-team negotiations in modern professional sports. Analysts highlight that the stakes are not only competitive but also cultural, as maintaining locker room unity during such a high-profile dispute requires delicate handling. League observers note that Garrett's stature and reputation as a game-changer make him a unique bargaining chip, one whose availability could shift playoff projections and spark a chain reaction of trades. The media has seized upon every leak, crafting narratives that blend factual reporting with speculative commentary, feeding a cycle of anticipation and rumor. Meanwhile, fans have formed polarized camps, some championing Garrett's assertiveness as a display of professional self-respect, others criticizing the potential disruption to team chemistry, making this one of the most charged debates in recent NFL memory. Insiders hint that Garrett's representatives are strategically leveraging the situation to explore not only potential trades but also long-term contract security, emphasizing the intersection of player performance, market value, and career longevity. The defensive end's ability to dominate games, pressure quarterbacks, and alter offensive schemes has made him one of the most influential defensive players in recent history, and any trade involving him is expected to be both high-profile and highly scrutinized. Analysts suggest that potential destinations are evaluating multiple layers of fit, including coaching philosophy, defensive alignment, team culture, and salary cap flexibility, demonstrating the intricate calculations that go into acquiring a player of Garrett's caliber. Meanwhile, the Browns face a delicate balancing act, needing to preserve organizational credibility while managing a situation that has already drawn national attention. Reports indicate that internal discussions are exhaustive, with contingency plans being drafted for every conceivable outcome, from a negotiated extension to a blockbuster trade involving multiple assets. The league itself is reportedly monitoring the saga closely, recognizing the implications for player empowerment trends, negotiation leverage, and the evolving relationship between stars and franchises. Fans, analysts, and executives alike are now captivated, fully aware that the final resolution could redefine Cleveland's identity and alter the broader competitive dynamics of the NFL for years to come. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, And ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!